Well, I believe that everyone should work, assuming they are able to, and I'm in favour of raising the personal tax allowance to £12,500 by 2020. The national living wage, currently set at £7.20 an hour for anyone over 25, will hopefully be raised to £9 by 2020, but I would like to see an adjustment to £10 an hour. If people can't work, then the state should provide some financial assistance to help them, but I don't think we should simply give out a benefit for life with no questions asked. I would like to see individuals being periodically reassessed to see if what they receive is suitable for their needs. One big concern for me is how we treat the disabled who receive benefits. I've met quite a few from the disabled community who've experienced great difficulty in being reassessed because they have been processed by employees of private companies who are sometimes paid by how many individuals they manage to get back to work. Clearly mistakes have been made, and I would like to see a return to medically qualified public service staff carrying out such assessments. Care and concern should be a priority in our benefits system. Now, disabled or not, we all have something to contribute to society, and a life on benefits should not become the norm where an individual can and should work. If people refuse to work, I think it's reasonable to hold back benefits and stop them after a few weeks if somehow they refuse to cooperate with those who are inquiring as to why they won't work. On the subject of housing, yes, we do need some new housing, but I don't want to see new homes built on great swathes of greenbelt. We still have large amounts of brown sites, and we could provide more financial incentives to developers to clear up some brown sites rather than target untouched green space. We should also consider the thousands of properties across our country that have perhaps been forgotten, left to fall into disrepair, or are abandoned by individuals, and some housing associations need to consider that some of their properties have fallen into disrepair and are boarded up. They could become someone's home. Of course, not everyone can afford or wants to live in a house that one day they may own. Some people choose to rent. I'm in favour of a countrywide, local council funded home building programme with financial support from national government. I would like to see more council owned or housing association owned properties made available for those who want to rent. Existing tenants who have secure council tenant status and hold preserved right to buy status should continue to be granted an opportunity to buy their housing association property where ownership is practical. And I'd also like to see the social right to buy discount scheme amended. But whatever happens, we should continue to build new homes to replace those being sold off. There are many who are concerned about how the proposed transatlantic trade and investment partnership free trade agreement may affect our public services. One of the main aims of TTIP is to open up Europe's public health, education and water companies to US companies. Now, some would argue that the deal will destroy some aspects of the NHS, making the UK government powerless to stop privatisation of the NHS, or at least make it impossible to reverse privatisation. Whilst there may be already some outsourcing of public services within the NHS to private companies, I want us to ensure our NHS remains a public health service. I think there is a need for different types of schools. I also believe in parental choice. If parents have the means to pay for their child's education and they wish to take their child out of state educational provision, then fine. Let them apply and seek a place for an independent or a private school. We should support existing state schools though, and we should really support those that do not have academy status, and I have reservations about the academy programme, although I accept that some do work well. If a school wishes to become an academy, then fine, but only if the staff, parents and pupils have been consulted by the governing body of that particular school and the majority agree with a change to academy status. We should not force schools to become academies. Great that we have faith schools. Parents who select such a school that has a religious ethos, fine, but that particular religion or faith must be inclusive, not exclusive, and should teach tolerance and acceptance of those of other faiths or none. I'm also happy to see new state grammar schools being built, but only where there is demand for them locally, and I agree with selection, but I have concerns over some individuals or companies influencing or making severe changes to a school's admissions policy to seek only the most profitable or most able pupils only. I'm not so keen on companies taking over the running of schools or the sale of publicly owned land to academies, and we should not erode national pay scales for teaching and non-teaching staff. Pupils' needs should be the priority, not profit, and I hope that we do not forget the less able and those with special needs in the running of any school. HS2, I'd like it to be scrapped. In light of the issues I've just discussed, we need to ensure we have funding for those in need, not spend billions on a vanity project we cannot afford. Yes, people want good local and national rail links, so let's consider an alternative proposal, perhaps looking at additional tracks at various places along the existing West Coast line, and let's ensure the status of Coventry Station is upheld as a major national train station.